guys, how's it going? Phoenix Clouden here from a day or so late movie reviews, and the one I'm coming to you with now is The Dark Crystal. So, Netflix has decided they wanted to do an update on The Dark Crystal. They turned it into a series. Naturally, I was interested in that, but I hadn't seen the original movie. So I decided to sit down, because it's also on Netflix, and check out the original movie. So if you don't know, the original movie is the story of the Dark Crystal, and it in this other realm where there are these things called skekis and grifflins. I guess they're called greflins, something like that. And there's also the wise, what do they call them? Mystics. Yeah, the gentle mystics. And the gentle mystics are like these. In no unsubtle terms, I would have to think of them as like really old dudes, really wise, really gentle, really kind old dudes. But that's exactly what they look like. And the skekis look like elites, but they're like a monstrous version of elites. You know what I'm saying? So it's like what the elites would look like if they were, monsters, pretty much. But the movie's all done with puppets. So Jim Henson, who was a great puppeteer back in the 80s, he also did the Muppets and big projects like that. So he pretty much does most of the puppetry going on in this movie. And the lead character is a boy named Jin.
All right, together then.
Which I found utterly hilarious, but it was the 80s. So Jin is tasked with finding the broken shard of the Dark Crystal and returning it to the crystal so that he can restore balance before the three suns meet in the Great Conjunction and the Skekis take rule forever. So, as a film student and a writer myself, one of the things that I learned about was the hero's journey. And I can honestly say I don't think I've ever seen a movie that follows the hero's journey quite to point like this movie. I mean, everything from the hero leaves his natural world, the hero meets, an ally or mentor who helps him through this journey. Yada yada. The only thing that I don't think they actually touched on was, the return portion of the hero's journey, where, now the hero has to exist in this new world, this new balance after he's completed his task. But everything else was spot on, like spot to spot, and it's not terribly bad, but my thing was, I just felt the characters were so poorly written. I want to be fair, because this was a movie done in the 80s, and because it was done in the 80s, if you've seen any movies from a different time period, you know that certain things weren't done to the level that they're done now. Clearly, you know what I'm saying? This is a movie almost 20. Maybe now 30 years, definitely over 30 years old. So a lot of things have changed. However, the one thing that has never changed in acting is whether you can do it well or not so well. And even though we're dealing with puppets and mostly voice acting, I felt like they made Jin to be so grossly naive and so uninspiring as a character that it was hard for me to really root for him in this journey. I found myself rooting more for the Skekis just because I felt they were funnier characters. They were more well thought out than the Greflings. Grifflings. Someone tell me how to pronounce that. So I was more impressed character-wise with the villains than I was the actual hero in this movie. Uh, and, sometimes that's a good thing. It wasn't here. It wasn't. So I was a little disappointed in the Dark Crystal, to be honest with you. It sort of tampered my excitement to see the new series, but I have heard good things about the new series, that it is much better. So I may give it a shot. I mean, 30 years after the movie, hopefully you've gotten puppeteering and character development much better. I can't really complain about anything else, the effects or anything like that. One, it was the 80s, not holding that against them. Uh, Actually, the action sequences were probably my favorite part. Those are pretty good, and I think Agora. How do you say Agatha? I forget.
Of course I'm no gelfling, you putrid lizards! I'll get my eyes for you!
She was with him. She helped him. Where is he?
Gone! Gelfling gone! Stupid, dart him! You want Gelfling? Why not ask me? No, easier to send your crab-brained soldiers. Burn my home! Now, home gone, Gelfling gone, nothing but ogre! Moldy mildew, mother of mouth muck, dangle and strangle to death!
One of my favorite characters, just a hysterically, like, aggressive, senile old lady. She was so funny. She was so funny. So, yeah, like I said, I cared more for the side characters than I did the main character, and I'm not sure that's what you want for your movie. But my question going into seeing this was, well, I had two. One, does it hold up over time? And two, is it a movie that's, I don't know, worth its place in cinema lore? And I gotta say, for me, it doesn't work. But I've never been a fan of sort of sci-fi and fantasy epics. I should say fantasy epics. Never really been a fan of it. Lord of the Rings, however, was amazing. That one I will say, but I didn't get really into the Dark Crystals. Probably why it took me 30 plus years to actually watch it. But yeah, I can't give it a thumbs up, but I'm gonna check out the series. I'm at least gonna check out the first few episodes and see if it's raised the standard at all. So we'll see. But official grade on the Dark Crystal, I can't call it a classic. I can't say like it's one of those movies that you have to watch. I would give it a skip. I think you could watch this new series and possibly enjoy it without needing to rewatch the original movie, unless you really want to, or unless maybe fantasy epics are your thing and you just want to dive into this new mythology. But for me, it wasn't really delved into enough. They didn't really explore the mythology all that much, and like literally like the narration is like the opening 10 minutes of the movie, to the point where it was like dragging. And yeah, overall, wasn't too impressed with the Dark Crystal. Not the worst movie I've ever seen, but certainly I couldn't recommend it. That's the best I can put it. But maybe you had a different point of view. Maybe seeing it in the time period that it was originally in makes it more worthwhile for you. So post your comments below. Let me know. And I'll see you next time on A Day or So Late Movie Reviews. Peace.